Game Over Vancouver is broadcasting from the Game Over Network channel for the playoffs, but starting in October, the network launches for real, which means for all of your Vancouver Canucks content, you want to go check out the Game Over Vancouver channel. You can subscribe right now by opening up the Game Over Network channel from this video in a new tab. Scroll down past my ugly mug, click on the Game Over Vancouver YouTube page, then click subscribe and click that reminder bell as well so you don't miss when we post a video or go live. Tell all your Canucks fans, friends, and family to come join our awesome community. You really won't regret it. And for this video, make sure you smash that like button right into oblivion.
Oh shoot, sorry. I was trying to run with the bit that we're cutting away to Edmonton during random parts throughout the night. So I didn't mean to do that, guys. I apologize for that. Anyway, welcome to Game Over Vancouver slash Edmonton, because it's playoff time, it's crossover time, you know the deal. My name is Kaja Mae. I'm here with Avry, and we're here to break down the game two, round two results for the Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers. So, first of all, it went to overtime, and the Oilers won. Avery, what did you think about the Oilers' effort tonight compared to game one?
Oh my goodness. Where do we begin? Well, first of all, the start wasn't that great. Of course, with the early penalty, Vancouver goes up 1-0 on the power play. But you know what? I will say this much. Containing Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl for 2 games in a row is the hardest thing to do in the world. It's harder than getting a good score on grade 5 algebra. Like, that is a thing that a lot of teams have been unable to do consistently, and we saw McDavid and Draisaitl finding ways to break through. Draisaitl scores after missing a good chunk of game one. McDavid scored his first goal of the series, and really, if Vancouver can't find a way to slow these two down, oh boy, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, they didn't seem to. They had some energy, but it didn't seem like they had the same kind of push. Maybe it was because they didn't have to fight so hard to gain that lead back. But once they were up 3-2, they kind of like held back, and even after McDavid tied it 3-3,
Mhm.
they kind of didn't do anything. Like they had some chances here and there, but even in overtime, they were just kept staying in their zone. They could barely get the puck out. It it was just not a good overall game for just basically staying out of their own end for the Vancouver Canucks. Um, and also this game was way more physical than
Mhm.
before. We're going to talk about officiating, don't you worry, folks. We will get there. Um, but yeah, so there was a lot of like Zadorov and Kane were going after it. Phil DiGiuseppe also tried to hit Evander Kane, and I thought that was really funny because it was just reverse hit and PDG just kind of fell on the ground. That was early in the game. That was before Ryan Nugent-Hopkins got called for tripping on Nikita Zadorov, which I find hilarious because that's a big man.
That
So
is true.
so you would think that it would be harder. Anyway, um, Pedersen gets his first of the playoffs, his first in 10 games, I believe.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, he gets his first of the playoffs. Miller goes across the zone. Skinner thought Miller would shoot. Passes to Petey, who no one he wasn't really covered. Um, I guess he was on like the opposite of what the Ovechkin spot is. Um, and then Darnell Nurse on a big Petey hit. Oh, that was the one where he kind of like you remember that in the first period where he kind of like crunched him against the boards.
It's the boards, yes.
Yeah. What was your take on that? There was no call on the play. Personally, I don't know what they would call, and considering like calls that are blatantly to the head, like the Devontae's call from last night wasn't called anything. I don't know what this could be called. So
I
yeah.
mean, seeing the officiating tonight, I mean, it was a game in which it seemed like they're gonna just let these two teams kill each other with the calls, with the nurse hit, with what was missed on the high stick on Quinn Hughes. Like, I'm not surprised it didn't get called because once again, it's the NHL saying, "Oh, you know what? It's the playoffs. Let him go." That's what people want to see. No, like, and the calls were bad both for the Oilers and the Canucks. Both teams were getting screwed by the officials, which to me is just bad hockey.
Yeah, it definitely felt like anytime there was any momentum really, then a penalty would be called and it would be for something that arguably sometimes during the regular season wouldn't even warrant that same kind of stuff, whereas other blatant calls like that were just going unanswered. Um, Draisaitl did tie it up on the power play for the Oilers because of course he did. Yeah, Myers got called for hooking. Leon Draisaitl, Canucks just can't get the puck out. Susie doesn't block the passing lane. Canucks are bunched away from Draisaitl. He gets higher than them, and they're all away from the goal. So yeah, like they kept emphasizing on the broadcast tonight, the Canucks need to be always higher than like McDavid especially, but I feel like Draisaitl can also be tacked onto that because he is also nearly as volatile. Not volatile. That sounds like a volatile is an awful word to say that. I'm trying to say he's very good at offense. That I have no idea why volatile came up in my mind, but I think never mind. I'm in opinions writing mind right now, but Myers got injured for hitting somebody else and then tripping over him, which I think is just the most Tyler Myers way of getting injured. He did not come back at the start of the second, but he did come back later on in the second. Yeah, he hit Matthias Janmark, who looked much smaller than Tyler Myers, but he's 6'2".
Yes.
Tyler Myers is just that big. Yeah, he banged his knee awkwardly, and I mean, that would also hurt me, and I'm probably, like, at least a decade younger than Tyler Myers, so, like, I understand. Mikheyev had a breakaway, and again, it was stopped because I think whenever he just has the puck, he just sees a target signal on the goalie's crest, and he shoots there, and that's the only place he can shoot now. I don't know what Sheldon Keefe did to this man before we got him, but there's something. That's why the Shanna plan doesn't work. It's because whatever Sheldon Keefe did to change Ilya Mikheyev's shot shooting metrics. I sound like Brendan Shanahan now, just blaming Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas for everything. Whoa. Anyway, I may not be a Leafs girly, but I have opinions. And then Ryan Nugent-Hopkins gets called for 2 penalties. Who knew that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is the new, who takes a lot of penalties? Tyler Myers. Took 2 penalties in the first. Besser had the 95-mile-per-hour shot that broke Ekholm's stick. Pettersson had to move Ekholm's stick out of the way. And then Petey had a good chance, and his stick broke. So, that about sums up the game for the Canucks. Is that chance on the power play. She Loves was fantastic to end. Hoglander and Ryan in the second period. What's your take on that?
That was another one where it's like, it was a really weird sequence in which I thought you're gonna get a call on that, but it's like I really didn't know what the officials were seeing in that sequence there. So, and my hope is that we're not here again in Game 3, wondering more questions about what's gonna happen with fishing again. Because if that happens again in Game 3 and Game 4, there's gonna be a lot of frustration on this timeline, Kaja.
Oh yeah, it was already pretty heated tonight. I kept seeing a lot of Flames fans being mad on Canucks fans' behalves, and I'm like, okay, this is the alliance I didn't know we were gonna have, considering that rivalry, but I guess, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. But yeah, so, Hoglander got called for interference.
Yes.
And Ryan got called for slashing, which, I mean, I don't know if it's technically slashing, I think. He hit Hoglander, pretty hard, in an area, and I was very worried. I was like, did Hoglander looks like he's really in pain? Did he break something? And then you see the replay, and you're like, oh, okay. just, yeah, okay. It goes to 4-on-4. Brock Besser very fast. Miller wins the draw. The puck gets back to Carson Soucy. He shoots it. Besser gets the tip. And it's 2-1. Then 23 seconds later, Matthias Ekholm goes over the glove of Artur Shelovs. And scores. I think that was like the first. I think personally, I think that's the first goal of this. Not the first goal of the series, because the fourth goal last night wasn't great, or not last game wasn't great. But this is the second goal, I guess, then of the series that I think She Loves could have had back. But that's just my opinion. Again, he's like 28 months old, so I just like let that exist. But um Besser had a pretty good defensive game, if I don't say so. Or he deflected a good parry chance, because again, the Canucks cannot get the puck out of their zone. They can't do anything to help themselves, pretty much. Carson Soucy did not have a good night when it came to keeping the puck on his stick. I mean, he had a good night when he set up the Besser chance, but he turns the puck over to McDavid, and, you know, that's, like, probably the least that's the player you least want it to go to when you turn the puck over, is Connor McDavid, because he's Connor McDavid. Then he turns over poke checks to stop it. Hoglander was getting good at rushing the puck in. I still think he looks better in a bottom six role, but then again, we have like no options then for Elias Pettersson, except for the Lotto line, which finally got activated in overtime.
It did.
So thank you, Rick Tockett, for listening to Sam on Twitter. Hronek, this is an actual like quote from the play-by-play. Hronek gave it up. McLeod in front. McLeod?
McLeod, yeah.
McLeod in front. Hronek, yeah, in the chat. Connor, Hronek wasn't much better either. Oh, I don't want to talk about that man yet. We don't need to talk about him until like July 1st, okay? Then he's out of our hair. Yeah, spending too much time in the Canucks zone, and then when they tried to get into the Oilers zone, it was just the dump and chase. I felt like I was watching the Canucks from 2021 all over again. I was so surprised I didn't hear like Louis Erickson's music coming from the rafters. Like yeah, like they're a good-ish defensive team, because, you know, they have Quinn Hughes, Nikita Zadorov, apparently, Tyler Myers, apparently, I don't know, but then you also have Philip Hronek, and Ian Cole, who's the overtime game-winning goal scorer. Yay.
Technically.
Technically, yes. But yeah, you're a good defensive team. And, you know, they're going up against the Nurse and CC pairing, which was -4 in game 1. So, puck dumps, that was so painful. Yep. There was that... Okay, this is why I think the officiating got a little bit too far. Because Suter got the delay of game penalty after, and then there was a scrum after the fact. Because, yeah, he shot the puck over the bench, because he was trying to clear it. It goes over the Oilers bench. Oilers are getting mad about it. And then, like, everyone starts fighting each other. That's basically all
hockey.
It's hockey, but Hyman and Miller are going at it. Like, Miller has, like, 3 guys attached to him. I don't know, like, I mean, you do you, man, but, like, there's cameras. Yeah, no, so he's, like, going after Draisaitl. He says something to Draisaitl, Draisaitl doesn't like. McDavid's in there. Hyman is also in there. But apparently Soucy got the roughing penalty, so I don't know how that ended up. Like, yeah, he was kind of punching and getting punched at, but Draisaitl also got a roughing penalty, so it was coincidental for that. Except Dry got it for Soucy, Soucy got it for Hyman. And then the Oilers were on the power play because Suter got the delay of game. But not for so long, because Zach Hyman got called for holding the stick on Tyler Myers. This is when even more interesting calls come to play, or I guess non-calls, because this is the point in the game when Hughes gets hit with a high stick, no call. People are saying, oh, it's a follow-through, I'll follow through without seeing the replay, because Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was there, he was trying to clear the puck. You go look at the replay, and it's just Connor McDavid skating by with his stick, like, hooked over his shoulder. Um, yeah. Quinn Hughes goes down on the ice. He has blood dripping from his cheek. He gets kicked off of the ice by the refs, but nothing gets called. Like, the linesman, I think, would have. They have the ability to call that after the fact, right?
They could have, yeah.
Yeah. So the Canucks technically should have had a 4 minute double minor there, but nothing happens. Yeah. So, and he actually I don't want to say sold it because that sounds like he's embellishing, but last game over, I said, oh yeah, Quinn, whenever he gets interfered with, he just jumps back up. He needs to stop doing that so that he actually gets calls in his favor. And he did that tonight, and still nothing got called. So, just don't listen to me, buddy. Just tune me out. No. Shelove's got tackled behind the net, and then also tried to tackle Hyman behind the net.
Yeah, that turned into a rugby scrum mid-game behind the net. That was very rugby-ish. I don't know what that was about. For like a good 5-10 seconds, it was just the doggy pile behind the Canucks net.
That was some really funny, interesting activity going on there. I don't even know. But yeah, then Nikita Zadorov, what an angle. I love how the camera focused on Darnell Nurse after the fact, even though he wasn't even the defenseman that was on him. Like, Cody Ceci was the guy who completely got blown by Nikita Zadorov. And yeah. But yeah, he beats Cody Ceci, sneaks past the shoulder of Stuart Skinner. And it's 3-2 Canucks, and that's the last time they held a lead for the rest of the game, late in the second period. And then later on, Suter gets called for interference on McDavid. It was a pick play. I think. That's when they're like not anywhere near the puck and they still get.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think I said it right. Yeah, he kind of bumps him. McDavid goes down, and he doesn't have the puck, so it's a call, right? Well, I don't know. Personally, in my opinion, it looked like McDavid fell like he was in a U11 game, but
U11 is crazy.
Yeah, no, like I said that in a group chat, and my buddy goes, "Oh, my kid wouldn't do that. She's in U7." So to be fair, they're all Canucks fans, so like there's a little bit of bias there, but yeah, we're gonna get into officiating, I think, because I do believe there were missed calls on both ends. I just think that I don't know. Sometimes there was a very big difference on how they're protecting the captain of the Edmonton Oilers and the captain of the Vancouver Canucks. Maybe it's because McDavid is McDavid and Quinn Hughes apparently doesn't matter to anyone past the Pacific Standard Time Zone. So that's just me saying stuff. And then, of course, it wouldn't be a second period ending for the Canucks if they had to readjust the clock again. So, thank you, Nashville Predators, for setting that precedent. The third period could have started off a lot worse, but it didn't. McDavid goes off the post. Hyman couldn't get the rebound quick enough. I have another question.
Yes.
What did you think about that hit from Kane on Quinn Hughes? That his helmet comes off. Some people I saw saying it a slew foot. I'm not really entirely sure if I agree with that, but it didn't look like a great hit, but at the same time, every hit that's been looked at as not a great hit has not been called, so.
No, it wasn't the best hit, but that really could have gone either way with how this series been officiated. That could have gone either way with no call or a slew foot. So really right now the players are trying to figure out what they can get away with. I think players are seeing that they're being given a lot of leeway right now in this series, Kaja.
Definitely, definitely. Considering there's 4 penalties, I think, total called last game.
Yep.
And then now this game there were a lot. There were a few more, but it's like some of them were coincidentals. Some of them, like, they weren't capitalized on. Anyway, doesn't matter because McDavid ties it up. Stay above Connor McDavid. That doesn't end well for the Canucks. McDavid does what he does best. It was also complete mess for the Canucks. Carson Soucy trips Elias Pettersson. Somehow the puck goes between them and they're pinching. Myers, heading into the zone trying to stop McDavid, slips. Mikheyev is the only one trying to defend McDavid on the breakaway. It's like they all just forgot to play hockey. Like, they were 5 seconds. They were left alone for 5 seconds, and it's like you transported like One Direction to an arena and put them on hockey skates and made them just, go play an NHL shift. That's what it looked like. They looked like they had no idea what they were doing. And I tried to do the math in my head, but I'm not good at math. That's at least like $25 million worth of cap hit on that ice, and they just let him go? I mean, I understand Mikheyev was trying, but Mikheyev is Mikheyev. And this is post, breaking his entire lower body, apparently, Mikheyev, so of course he's not the same speed-wise. And they just let Connor McDavid go and do what he does best. When I saw McDavid had the puck, I was like, okay, this is it. This is gonna be 7-3 Oilers. Like, we're done. And the Oilers kept putting on pressure. Sheloves was scrambling, but he was doing his best. Suter, dump and chase. Everyone kept, it was dump and chase. Canucks were putting pressure. I did not mean, I think I meant to put Oilers putting on pressure in Canucks end. But I wrote Canucks putting on pressure in Canucks end, which I don't think is what they're supposed to be doing. But I mean, hey, yeah, they weren't a great defense show. Also, is it the Ice Garden or the Moss Pit? I don't really understand the naming of the Oilers kind of fan area. Okay, Avery died. We're going back. Yep, okay, there's 2 of me. Hi. Um, I This is a tactic. If this is a tactic Talkit is telling him to do, it has limits. Yes, it absolutely does. And I think this was the reaching of those limits. Okay. Avery's back! You're muted, bud.
Yeah, don't know what happened there.
All good. I just kind of like waited. I was like, did you just not hear my question? I was like, oh wait, no, he's not moving. It's stuck.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, because on my end, then your video cut out. I thought it was your video that stopped.
Oh,
then.
no. Sorry. Yeah, no. I got to the point about the Oilers in the Oilers. Well, in the broadcast essentially because they're only doing the one, right?
Yes.
They cut to the Moss Pit, the Oilers fan zone in the middle of the play. My question was, is there like a difference between, because some signs say Ice Garden, some say Moss Pit. Are those the same thing?
That entire area is the Ice District. Those entire blocks around the arena
That's what I meant.
are called the Ice District, and that specific square outside the arena, that is known as the Moss Pit. That is the area that's known as the Moss Pit. But that entire area of what's about 3 or 4 blocks is the Ice District in Edmonton.
That is cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Vancouver has no land, so they wouldn't be able to do that, but yeah. There's nothing! There's nothing!
there is no room where your arenas are, because I know you got Rogers Arena, you got your Costco, and then what, a few steps away is BC Place.
Yeah, the best thing to do in Vancouver, if you're ever in town on the rare weekends when there's a Canucks game and a Whitecaps game, I've done that before. It's great. Yeah, I accidentally walked past Tim Stutzlo once when I was doing that. I was walking with a friend between BC Place and to meet another friend at Rogers, and I just turned. I'm like, oh, that's the Senators guy. Um,
That's amazing.
yeah. Why is it called the Moss Pit? Is it just really mossy? Like,
No, it's to honor Joey Moss, their old equipment manager who passed away.
oh,
That's where it can, and it's not officially the Moss Pit, but the fans gave it the Moss Pit name after Joey Moss passed away.
oh, okay. That's really sweet. That's
Mm.
nice. That's cool. Yeah, I was questioning it. I was like, 'cause I don't know if moss is like a it doesn't sound like it's a normal, like they're in the middle of the city. I don't understand, but that's a good meaning. Yeah, the Canucks just don't get out of their zone. Somehow they push it to OT. And in OT, she loves right kind of off the bat. He gets the glove save. Big confident. Lotto line came out. Thank you, Rick Tocchet. But the happiness doesn't last for long. Evan Bouchard, he gets credited with the OT winning goal. Um, I mean, would you classify this as a Booch bomb?
I would, he got a shot through, made its way to the net, with a little bit of help from Ian Cole. But I still think it's a quasi Boosh bomb in my interpretation of it.
Deflected boot. It's a Booch bomb with a layover, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, it took a layover with Ian Cole. But yeah, it goes off of Ian Cole's stick, because apparently in his mind, defense is standing right next to your goalie with your blade pointed towards the inside of the open net. He's a UFA in the offseason. And a little fun fact before we get into more officiating talk, because, of course, there was an interesting stat, apparently. I'm not sure if Sportsnet put this up, or this is just something I saw on Twitter, but this is the Oilers' first win against the Canucks this entire season.
Yes, it is. Yeah, because not a single win in the regular season. Lost game once. Yeah, so if you're the Oilers, this has to feel like a giant relief that you finally got one win against Vancouver. You finally got that win against them this season.
Yeah. Like Elias Pettersson, they got that monkey off their back, or whatever the saying is that I don't really understand. Cause like that's not a anyway. I'm like, yeah, my brain's not working. It's too late. It's overtime, because West Coast overtime games are just so hard to do when you're on the West Coast. We're gonna head to our little second segment here, but just 1 second for a little message from Game Over Ottawa.
Game Over Ottawa is relaunching in October. So for all of your Ottawa Senators action, reaction, news, analysis, and fun, make sure that you click on the Game Over Network channel right now, open a new tab in this video, scroll past my ugly mug, and click on the Game Over Ottawa channel. Subscribe, and then hit that drop-down menu. Make sure you hit the alarm bell so that you get notified whenever we post a video or go live. Tell all your Sens fans, friends, and family to check out our awesome community, and make sure you smash the like button on this video right into oblivion.
All right, we are back. Now, from the Oilers' perspective tonight, they go 1-on-3 on the power play. Both teams get equal penalty minutes. Both teams go 1-on-3 on the power play. What was your kind of impression on how the Oilers were treated by the officiating staff tonight?
I wasn't surprised they didn't get a ton of power plays so far in this game, and again and in game one. It feels like, again, this is a case of game management on both parts. The officials don't want to hand out a ton of power play, a ton of penalty kills. for Edmonton. But you know what? Hey, Edmonton found a way to score on their chance. They made the most of what they had. But it really feels again like the officiating is about game management, which I still hate. I cannot stand that idea. If there's a penalty, call it. Call the rule book and stop with this game management nonsense. But it felt inevitable that Edmonton would find a way to score on the power play. Keeping Edmonton complete scoreless on the man advantage is a near impossible task, no matter what team you are.
Yeah, pretty much that. Like, you could get. I was about to say Prime Gretzky, but I guess that's also the Oilers. Like, my brain did not work. Did not put two and two together there. I pulled up scouting the refs just because, why not? In the 23-24 season, the Canucks actually had the upper hand under both of the referees. Because for this season, when Kelly Sutherland was refereeing for Edmonton, it was 2-4-0. When it was Eric Furlat, they were 2-1-1. For the Canucks, with Sutherland, it was 2-1-0, and with Furlat, it was 3-2-0. So there were a lot of people very hesitant, especially with Kelly Sutherland with the Canucks. Somebody said in the chat, let me find it. I mean, maybe people were just really worried because he officiated the 2011 Cup Finals, and a lot of us still remember that. I'm purposefully staring into the camera. This is not me freezing. Okay. Anyway.
Oh, what a series! What a cup final!
What?
Hey,
Anyway.
that can be many things. That can be taken many ways, Kaja. That's not me endorsing it.
Okay. Also, fun fact: one of the Lions people tonight is listed as Clover. His birthplace is listed as Cloverdale, BC. Cloverdale's not a city. It's a neighborhood in Surrey.
Oh.
But I don't know. They try and pretend to be their own city sometimes, but I don't let them. Me personally. Anyway. Yeah, so there were some interesting calls tonight. I think there was one that was a bit debated online about the potential pick play McDavid did. I believe it was on Nikita Zadorov.
I believe so, yes.
It was after, and people are saying, oh, well, he's skating backwards, and he's trying to miss him, but I don't know, it just didn't seem like it was that incidental to me. But that could also just be my brain telling me that, so. Yeah. Yeah, and do you think that, because I know you talked about the game management and how that, like, affects the overall thing, overall game, as a whole, but from what I understand, game management is you miss a call and you make a call up for that team. Kind of. From, like, what I've understood for... I've seen it in other series this postseason. It's like, yeah, there's a missed call on that specific play, so they're gonna get the team back on a second call that might not be as egregious as the first one, but it's gonna be a similar call, or it's just gonna be like, oh, that guy totally got slashed down there, but the ref didn't see it, so now they're gonna call a slash over here. It's just classic NHL officiating. But I felt like because of that, there would be more attention on evening up the game a little bit in that regard. Especially with, like, a lot of missed hits. There were a lot of rough hits that I feel like could have been looked harder at. And if you can review a delay of game penalty for that long, an entire commercial break and then some, you can review the Hughes high stick, the various interferences that I think happened for both sides. Like, I just think that the standard is underground. for NHL officiating, and has been for many years, don't get me wrong, but this game was just a prime example of why. Because I understand letting them play or whatever, I hear that all the time in beer league, but when it comes to professional hockey, you have to set a standard, I believe.
Yeah.
And there's no standard being set at any point for any team in any game. Like, there'll be most likely different refs for game 3 in Edmonton on Sunday, and it will be refed entirely different. There will be different refs for there'll be different refs for game 4 in Boston later this week, and who knows, maybe Florida will get called for like 6 different 5-on-3s. Like, officiating shouldn't be the end all be all in some series. Because sorry.
I was just gonna say, yeah, you're right. Like, players shouldn't have to guess in terms of what's gonna be a penalty, what they can get away with. Like that, there should be a standard among officiating crews, no matter if it's the Florida Boston series, Edmonton, Vancouver. Yeah, players shouldn't be assuming, okay, it's gonna change from game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There should be some consistency, and because that's how a pro league should operate, no matter if it's the playoffs or regular season.
Yes, very true. I'm trying to find the exact what the penalty that was called was. Yeah, I mean, that was the high sticking double minor today, and this is the Bruins Panthers game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that was a high sticking, and yeah, he was bleeding. You call that. But the Panthers ended up scoring twice on that power play. That same power play, and they ended up winning the game 6-2. Like, I'm not saying that was egregious officiating, because, yeah, you should be calling that. But if you call that in that game, and then you don't call it in another game, if you don't call something in one game, like, Jamie Benn nearly knocked out Devon Taves last night.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that the officiants make the calls in the best interest of some players? Oh, he didn't get his elbow up. Still, dude was down on the ice. Like, he's bleeding, and you're...
It blows my mind.
It blows my mind. There was... If you can't meet standards, you'll be fired, plain and simple, in a regular workplace, but I don't know. I'm gonna single him out. Both refs have been reffing in the NHL since before I was born. So, like, if you have that track record, if Kelly Sutherland has that much of a track record with Canucks fans that you can worry about a game that he's officiating, I think that has set a standard, and it's not a good one. Rick Tocchet may have said that he has a good relationship with the referee. Okay, good for you, bud. Your players aren't the referee's best friends, maybe. I mean, Quinn Hughes was going after him a little bit. He looked like he was just a really tired retail worker, and honestly, I vibe with that, because he looked like me as a teenager. Like, that was, like, I was an essential worker, technically, during lockdowns. Like, that's what I looked like. So, Quinn Hughes, I get you. Anyway.
But that's always Quinn Hughes, though. He always looks like the world is ending, life sucks. He lost all his money in a failed stock venture.
I'm not commenting. I made that joke last game, you can find it. No, I was gonna say, the Canucks posted a picture of him smiling on their Twitter account, and now people are saying, oh, this is why the Oilers tried to kill him. They hate seeing Quinn Hughes happy. Okay, short break here. We're going to hear from Game Over Calgary, and then we are going to get into what we can expect for Game 3 that's not officiating. You know, the actual people that we should be watching the game for, not the little guys in the little striped jerseys. Okay.
Game Over Calgary is relaunching in October. For all your Game Over Calgary content, make sure you subscribe to our Calgary-specific YouTube channel. Open the Game Over Network YouTube page in a new tab from this video, scroll past Andrew talking, and click on the Game Over Calgary channel in our featured channel section. Click subscribe and make sure you hit the drop-down menu to get notified when we post videos or go live. Tell all your Flames fan friends and family to check it out and join our awesome community. And make sure you smash the like button on this video right into oblivion.
All right. Avery, what can you expect based on this? It wasn't exactly a comeback performance. It was back and forth the entire night. Well, I mean, it was Canucks goal, Oilers goal right after. Canucks goal, Oilers goal right after. Like, Oilers goal right after. I mean, technically, the last goal was a Canucks goal. So, I just closed everything on my, or minimized everything on my screen. 1 second. Just all disappeared. I would like to ask you, do you think that the Oilers' mindset will be going into Game 3? They're on home ice, the series is tied, it's now a best of 5, so what's kind of their energy going into Rogers Place?
I think the mindset is we're no longer chasing the game. We can play a more relaxed game now going to Game 3. Of course, they're going to want to push the pace early on, but it isn't gonna feel as desperate when you're going back home 1-1 as opposed to being down 0-2. But I do think you're gonna see Chris Knobloch split up Draisaitl and McDavid on the first line, because it's been a thing for a past few seasons, going back to Tom McClellan and Ken Hitchcock, where if you're in danger, break out the McDavid Draisaitl line. So I think you'll see them split up for Game 3. That was really a desperation act to not go down 0-2 tonight. So I think you'll see them on separate lines again in Game 3.
I mean, it definitely did work. I mean, the first goal for Draisaitl, yeah, it was on the power play, but still, those two play together on the power play. And McDavid's goal, was that unassisted? Or did somebody get, Carson Soucy got an assist? Yeah. Draisaitl and Hyman got the assists on that one. So, yeah, I did think that I saw this as like a take widely across Canucks Twitter, but I kind of agree. It did feel like that kind of emergency move. Like, I mean, that is understandable. You're going to want to put your best players out together. That's why a lot of us in Canucks Nation think that whenever the Canucks are in danger, like most of the third period tonight, that the lotto line should be deployed, because it's your best players. For the Oilers, Hyman, 50-goal season, apparently. You have Connor McDavid, best NHL player, best hockey player on the world currently. You have Leon Draisaitl, who's in that top 5, top 10 conversation, whatever way you want to spin it. And yeah, maybe comparing JT Miller to Leon Draisaitl is not the comparison I should be making right now, but at the same time, getting that line together had a big step up. Also, it was kind of like they didn't know if Draisaitl was going to be okay to play. I mean, maybe they probably did the entire time, and they just didn't want anybody. They wanted them to mess with Tocchet and his team a bit heading into this game, but yeah, I felt like it was, not to say a desperation move, but they don't want to go back to the other Rogers Arena, down 0-2, and yeah, I mean, hey, maybe it's like the LA Oilers series and the Canucks are just gonna win the next 3, because LA only won their 1 game in OT, so
that is true. That's a fair point.
It's a fair point, but it's definitely not gonna happen, because the Edmonton Oilers can play hockey. Anyway, yeah, for the Canucks, I think you gotta break up the Mikheyev, Hoglander, PD line. You have to get, PD got a goal on the power play. You're gonna need him to produce with some other players. Scratch one of them, move another guy off. You need to mix the lines a little bit up. Like I said this in the first series, like P.S. Suter has no business being on the line with Besser and Miller. Like, it's been an okay line, but I'm pretty sure I've seen better production for when we had the Juho Lammikko, Juho Lammikko, I think it was Matthew Highmore and Tyler Mott line. I think that's what it was.
Boy.
It was either Highmore or Chason, but I don't exactly remember, but that was a time in Canucks hockey. And that was almost making the playoffs Canucks hockey. Like, we got eliminated with 2 games to go. Like, that was... 2021-22 was a season. But yeah, they also need to, like, learn how to get the puck outside of their own zone. Like, I don't know if they're only practicing on one half of Rogers Arena, but they need to spread it out a bit. Like, I know you guys don't have a practice facility, and you have to keep using UBC for it, but I don't know. I had another note about something, but I completely forgot. Oh, no, now I remember. The Abbotsford Canucks recently were eliminated in the AHL playoffs, and the Canucks decided to call up. Let me find the list. Call up. Patrick Alvin announces 13-player call-up. So, he calls up, Arshdeep Bains, Linus, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 forwards, 5 D-men, and a goaltender. So yeah, Arshdeep Bains, Linus Karlsson, Danila Klimovic, who I think has been a scratch since March, but they called him up. Jonathan Lekerimäki, Vasily Podkolzin, Atu Ratu, Max Sasson, Nick Cicek, I believe, Matt Irwin, Cole McWard, the other Elias Pettersson, Christian Wolanin, and Zach Sawchenko. So they do have depth options in case and they also still have Neil Zoman traveling with them. Like, Pettersson missed practice the other day, so he came in. It was due to illness, I believe, and like they have other options on D, so I think we could potentially see, I don't know if it would be Myers coming out, for just a rest game, Susie, because he didn't have a great game, but he did, get a pretty decent assist, if it's, Ian Cole coming out, I don't know yet, but, we'll have to see. To wait for Sunday for the slightly earlier start of 6:30 p.m. But of course, if the NHL scheduling is anything to go off of, it's probably going to start later. So,
Of course.
yeah. Send your questions in right now. We're going to answer them real quick. Just after one last message.
Game Over Vancouver is broadcasting from the Game Over Network channel for the playoffs, but starting in October, the network launches for real, which means for all of your Vancouver Canucks content, you want to go check out the Game Over Vancouver channel. You can subscribe right now by opening up the Game Over Network channel from this video in a new tab, scroll down past my ugly mug, click on the Game Over Vancouver YouTube page, then click subscribe and click that reminder bell as well so you don't miss when we post a video or go live. Tell all your Canucks fans, friends, and family to come join our awesome community. You really won't regret it. And for this video, make sure you smash that like button right into oblivion.
Alright, so, a note. Arshdeep Bains has a lot of development still to do if he is to make it in the senior team. He was okay when he played, but it's not NHL level yet. Yeah, he did not have the greatest call-up, I'd say. But I don't know. I thought it was still pretty cool. Maybe that's just because I'm biased because he's from Surrey, but I did think, yeah, he was a pretty decent option to potentially. That's like worst case scenario for the Canucks. I do still think that like Neil Zoman would be a better fit. A lot of people were saying that we should call Lekerimäki in, and I'm like, no, he's 12. Anyone younger than me is 12, and even if they're older than me. I think Podkolzin would most likely be the forward that would come up to play in the big leagues the most, because he does have the experience. He played pretty much most of an entire NHL. I closed that tab. But most of an entire NHL season with the Canucks. He was called up for the beginning of the playoffs and then got sent back down. Most likely on the back end, I think it would be Christian Wolanin. Good defensive option. He's been amazing for Abbotsford. But then again, we also have Mark Friedman and Noah Juleson just kind of sitting in the press box the last few games. So, the last few weeks, to be honest. So, they could potentially come in, be a factor. I don't know why Zach Sawchenko was called up, other than, do they still need an e-bug? Did they, because I think they sent Tolopilo back down, but I don't know. I'm not in the Canucks offices right now. Here's a question. It's clear that in terms of tactics, Canucks' use of short line changes and puck chases were not working against Edmonton. Can't talk it, change it up. They probably should. Oh, apparently the Northern Lights are outside right now.
Nice.
Yeah. I think they should probably change up some strategy. Avery, do you have any insight of how the Canucks should? I mean, I'm going across enemy lines a bit here, but anyway, of how the Canucks should, or how Edmonton should continue to exploit Vancouver's disjointed systems and structure.
I mean, Vancouver is gonna have to figure out how to contain McDavid entering the neutral zone, entering Vancouver's zone. But that's a big thing, because you can't let him carry the puck like that across the blue line, like we saw with his goal at the tie of the game. I know it was a calamity of errors that led to the breakaway for McDavid. You got to find a way to collapse on him before he crosses into the blue line. And again, the power play, finding ways to slow down what Edmonton does in front of the net. It's going to be a big thing for Vancouver to have any chance of winning in Game 3, Kaja.
Yeah, that Connor McDavid is the catalyst for if the Canucks can actually make this a Destiny Cinderella run, whatever they're calling it these days. And a question for you, Avery.
Okay.
Skinner was as effective as, I'm quoting this in the chat, Skinner was as effective as a statue when Zadorov's shot went past him. I think even if Edmonton get past us, they'll struggle with him in net. Thoughts? Because I know you're a Skinner guy. I know you're a Skinner guy.
Yes, everybody knows I've been a huge Stuart Skinner guy, and that's the one thing is that he's going to find a way to cut down those angles and those bad shots, because there have been a couple of, the one thing is that when it comes to high danger chances in front of the net, Skinner has been okay, but those odd angle shots where he should have, he hasn't, so it's going to be a thing where him and Dustin Schwartz going to have to work that out again, because say you get past Vancouver, you can't give those kind of shots up against Colorado and Dallas, teams that run 4 lines deep and have 6 effective D-men throughout the lineup.
Yeah, Miro Heiskanen would eat through that man in a second, so. I think Skinner probably needs some Ian Clark juice, to be honest. Because yeah, that man is working wonders for the Canucks. I have no idea how he does it. Anyway, any last thoughts for tonight's show?
I'll just say it was a fun game, even though, of course, for the Vancouver fans and for yourself, it wasn't the ending you wanted, but I thought it was a very entertaining game. And I am very glad that this game did not go to 3 or 4 overtimes, because, oh boy, imagine coming on here at what would have possibly been 2 or 2:20 a.m. Mountain Time, 1 a.m. Pacific Time. That would have been tough. That would have been a rough show.
That would have been tough, and also technically, I think I have an assignment due at midnight, so that would have made it a lot worse. I just remembered that. But apparently, okay, we have a 24-hour grace period, so that'll be okay. Everything is all right here. It's going to be fine. Yeah, I agree. It was a very entertaining game. Yes, I didn't exactly love the outcome of it, but you know what? It was entertaining. Quinn Hughes has a new scar on his cheek. Maybe he can match mine. I scratched my face when I was 6 months old, and it's been there ever since. I have no idea why. Sorry, one final question. Game 3 in Edmonton. The series is not over. I think we'll lose, but win Game 4. I think this is accurate. I mean, I always thought this series was going to go to the full length to Game 7. Game 6 or 7, I think. I'm not I think that's a good chance. I mean, maybe we could pull off what we did in Nashville and win both. That's a dream scenario. Maybe we could do to the Oilers what they did to the Kings. It's up in the air. It's a best of 5. It's whoever can stop McDavid or stop Nikita Zadorov better, because apparently he's the best Canuck to ever live now.
Right, it seems like it right now with the way he's played these past 2 games.
He had 5 goals in the regular season. He has 4 in the playoffs. Philip Hronek is getting sent to the moon so that we can sign this man. Anyway, that's it for us. You can find Avry, basically Avry Sports Show, or at Avry, because, you know, when you make your Twitter accounts earlier, then you actually get your name. Could have been me, but apparently a lot of people in Eastern Europe have this, so I'm not special. Yeah, you can find Avry, at Avry Sports Show. I'm Kaja, at Real Kaja Mae on Twitter. Kaja Mae basically everywhere else, because that's my name. It's been incredible tonight. It's been a great game, great battle. Kelly Sutherland, watch your floorboards. For legal reasons, that's a joke. Subscribe to the Game Over Network and all of our channels. Like the video, comment, tell your friends about this. We'll be back for Game 3. I mean, I'll be back for Game 3. I think I'm being joined by Peter, but I'm not sure. I need to reread the messages. We'll be back for Game 3. It's gonna be a great series, guys. Peace out.
Later.
Game